It's time for, let's just hashtag it, Blab Reunion 2018. We're here. I gotta love this because this was honestly not of my doing. I didn't make this thing up. This is not something that I had planned or scheduled or really created on my own. This is something that's coming to you from getvocal.com. They got a hold of me one day in an email and invited me to come over here and do a Blab reunion for all of you to hang out with me and all the rest of us who've been here since back in 2015. I'm really excited to just be here, honestly, because I would have never expected this to happen the way it is, or where it is for that matter. And I've missed a lot of the people in tagging for this post and for this broadcast because I couldn't possibly find you all. There was just no way I was going to be able to come out and look for over 2,000 plus, maybe 3,000 people that I connected with while I was on Blab. And we went from there. So I see some really great people here in the chat today. I'm looking over at the Who's Here. Let me give you a quick rundown of the site real quick before we get going. If you're seeing us out on Facebook at Leland Best Live, come on over to the link that's in the description so you can take part in this discussion in the chat. Other than that, we've got people like Horace, Luke, Zach, James, DJ Gonzo, Lokish, Aurora, Angie, Sheldon. I see some of the familiars like John Preto, Stephen, Lady Raincorn, Anthony, a couple of guests with numbers. Those will be the generic people who didn't drop an email or a phone number into the login when they came into the broadcast. Anton, Coach Jenny, what's happening? Glad you made it. Michael, Kiki. Is that Kiki Shear? I hope so. Nice to see you here today as well, and several others, and I'm sure they'll just keep piling in. Hi, Angie, I see you over there in the chat. So basically, the way this works is we'll be broadcast. Now, I got to be really careful because this software is still in beta. There are 5 people running the team on the back end of things. They got some money behind them, so they're offering this platform free of charge to everyone that wants to use it. A lot like Smile Time was set up. So we basically have broadcaster rights available to us, but you have to ask for it. If you come in here generally as just a viewer and you want to participate in these vocals, I guess they call them, you can come out here and just sign up for an account and watch, and hang out with people and jump in seats and do that all kind of stuff. But if you want to broadcast to Facebook or YouTube, simply get a hold of one of the staff over at getvocal.com, send them an email, tell them I sent you. If you're a blabber, even better, because they'll give it to you right away. Just gives you access to stream to any URL and stream key out of Facebook or YouTube that you'd like. So those are the only built-in features right now. But while you're here, one of the things that I know they're really excited about getting everyone to take a test on is the Match Me Up button, which is above the channel over there for the Who's Here. Now, be very careful when you go to pick on someone in the Who's Here. You'll see a plus next to their face. If you plus that, you're following that person. If they plus you back, now you're friends. From there, if you pick on their face, you should see their profile. Now, I have to be really careful as a broadcaster because there's a feature to that that's a little glitchy right now. It takes you to another tab. Whenever you go to another tab, your avatar will fill the video space that you're broadcasting into out of these 4 squares. And from there, you will basically be seen as a person out on YouTube or Facebook as a black screen right now. So what we have to be careful with is how we're presenting this. And they're working on it. I've already talked to them. They're going to get avatars together. They're going to make sure that these clicks don't go. You may find actually if you try to click a profile, it'll give you a warning to say you're going to leave this space. Are you sure you want to? We're working to get that like a pop-up so that pops up and you won't have that problem. I say we're. I'm not associated with Get Vocal. I don't work for Get Vocal. I only saw Get Vocal one time before they invited me to come do this broadcast. So I'm just happy to be here. You'll probably see 4 Alexanders from Get Vocal hanging around in the chats one way or another. One of them is Alex. One of them is Zan. One of them is Alexander. And then the other one, I'm not sure if he's Dur or what. I haven't gotten a good handle on the other Alexander over here at Get Vocal. So just get to know the team. Get out there, hang out when you see these names pop up like Zan, Alexander, Oduarte, and a couple others. Just touch base with them, let them know you're here, and let them know that we got together for a Blab Reunion 2018 on October 6th. So I put together a quick little video I want to play because this is all me on the screen right now, and then we're going to get people into these chairs, get this thing going. I'd like to do a round robin and get everyone in here for about 5 minutes at a time until the crowd slows down or speeds up. We don't really know what could happen tonight. We could get thousands of people out here tonight, so we're just going to see what happens. I put together a little Blab video because you all may not know me. And those that do know me from a show that was done over on Blab IM called Blab Nation with Jonathan Tripp. Among that, I did some other shows on my own after we separated on amicable terms. Beyond that, there were several other broadcasters, several other shows, several other thousands of people who were broadcasting on Blab. So I don't take any credit whatsoever for this video being the only thing people saw out there. This is just my experience of how we handled Blab and what was going on and I'll kind of walk you through it as I do this. I'm going to disappear from the screen for a minute as this merges in. But I want you guys to take a look at my experience in Blab starting November 2015. We'll be right there. This is a timeline of the things that took place. Jonathan and I met off of a Periscope broadcast that came about. We became friends pretty quickly, but we didn't have an opportunity to really shine until we started to take on the task of doing and producing our own show. Blab Nation took off as a Facebook group, and from there we continued our journey as social media influencers, creating channel after channel, broadcast after broadcast at 10 a.m. every weekday out at Blab IM. During that process, other people were creating all kinds of shows and using their talents and their abilities to come out here. They even created workbooks, 101 courses. Sit down and chat with me. Give me your pitch. I even did a blab on how to start a blab, how to use the screen share feature. As things grew over time, we tried to use features like the buy it now button and make things happen so that we could make money on the platform. Seemed like that's what they wanted us to do. Commercially, we couldn't do a whole lot as far as sponsorships, but what we did do is generate friendships. We built communities. We talked. We got together. We spoke. We debated. We dealt with topics that were really hard to discuss. And in that process, we got to know each other. We got to be better toward each other. And I think in the end, we all grew a lot together. So what it comes down to is the fact that Blab was there for us. And as we grew, it grew. And so did the people that came onto Blab. We started to see named people of celebrity status showing up in our feeds. And it was kind of amazing when the mayor would be on scene during a town hall meeting, or perhaps there were people that are of influence that you didn't normally see, like Kim Garst. We had PJ Entrepreneurs show up in feeds from the Southeast Asian markets. People like Tom Petty. No, that's not really Tom Petty. Who am I kidding? But besides that, there were people who both enjoyed the platform personally or took advantage of it as a business perspective or business proposition. Sure, there were heated debates. Sure, there were friends and families, just kind of messing with each other. We had entrepreneurs and business people of all ranks. We would love it when we made it to the featured page on Blab. We celebrated our landmarks. And by the time it was all over, we realized that we had this huge community of people. So we started to donate. We started to use the platform as a means for good. We could come out here and help others. Celebrities saw what was taking place. We had people like Tim Schmoyer. We had people like, I got to keep up here. I'm going to have a tough time. John Aguilera, Eben Eka from the MSNBC. We had, look at who we had. Tony, we got them all. People were just coming left and right into Blab to see what the buzz was all about. So as these celebrities continued to join the fold, everyone got excited and we knew that this was going to be the next home. But something happened. Things started to denigrate. We had people like Tony Robbins on the platform, people of artistic quality, building out communities of images that represented who we were. Everyone loved Blab. Then things got a little ugly. Things settled down. And people started to miscommunicate. People started to have a tough time with each other. And I saw that a lot on Blab, but I think it was a lot of the trolling that came and started. There was all kinds of anger and distress and things of that nature. Martin Shkreli showed up on Blab and made a mockery of some of the things that we were trying to do to create communities rather than tear people down. So the hopes of this broadcast is to kind of take us back just a little bit and say, and show the rest of us, the rest of the world even, what Blab was really all about, what it meant to us, why it was there, and how we used it in our lives and how we got to be better people and got to meet more friends and family. So I invite you all to come into the chat. I want you to all participate in this broadcast. I want you to let the world know what you did while you were on Blab. So I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. Tell me who you are, where you're from, what Blab meant to you, and then we'll move on to the next person. So I hope we can just make this a peaceable, non-debatable type show. We're not going to be talking about the things that are going on in the world, and I'll cover some of that a little bit later as the host. But we're going to move ahead here. So I'm going to crank open those seats, folks. Anyone wants to come in, just open a seat. And if you're having any trouble, look for your camera settings over to the right. There should be a menu over there. We got John Preto already popping in with Moon Shadow and Sid. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Leland. Thank you very much. Great intro.
Thank you. I do appreciate it, John. It's a lot. It means a lot coming from you. So
fantastic.
Bury this underneath me here so everybody knows where we're coming from. John, tell the folks out there who you are, where you're from, and how you got to know where Blab was and what you did with it.
Okay, my name is John Preto, as you can see from my name. I'm from Las Vegas. I'm in right now sitting in J.S. Gilbert's home. he'll pop in here in a bit, I'm sure. I found Blab from Periscope, and the same day that I found Blab, I invited got his name, just Leo Laporte. So we're the ones that brought Leo Laporte onto Blab, and he actually had my stepson on his show the following day to talk about Blab, which was pretty interesting. And then, Colin and I and JS and Karen and Sunday and Gabe were the producers of Nerd World. Remember the Nerd World show? We also did the Blabathon. Colin and I did the Blabathon for Jamie Mesner. And we also produced the Blab Awards, which was a lot of work.
And sorry, John, I meant to mention that too in my intro, but my time ran out because I wanted to let people know there was this huge award show. And we should kind of highlight for just a second, there were some highlights to the year, especially 2016. We had the presidential election. We had stuff going on in Syria. We had major, basically astronomical events, you might say, taking place. We saw things like the Mercury transition and all kinds of spectacular things, along with some very horrific things, like the things that took place in Florida, the shootings, the just the chaos that was going on. But we came to Blab to talk about that stuff, didn't we?
True, absolutely. And I was talking to somebody earlier. We've been in for an hour or so on another room that I created, and there used to be. There was at least 3 or 4 amazing events like that that we actually shared with each other on Blab. Hours and hours and hours, fires, police chases, all kinds of interesting things like that. And it was amazing. I tell people that I work for myself out of my home. I was taking care of my dad, had dementia, so I was with him at his house in Boulder City for 5 years. But I was still I did Mike Tyson's website. I did all his social media. I met more interesting people in Blab in 6 months than I had in the prior 5 years in my professional life.
I would agree with you. All right. Well, thanks so much for that, John. I'm going to roll over to the other two, but stay in your seat. Don't leave just yet, because I want you guys to all kind of let the people who are watching somewhat experience the Foursquare concept as we move along here. So, Moonshadow, you and I obviously have made great friends over the course of these last few years. I first hit Blab in November of 2015. Tell them who you are, how you got there, and what you were doing. Oh, I can't hear you, Moonshadow. Try your mic. We're not getting any audio from you. So while we'll see until Moonshadow pops in here, pipes in with his microphone. We cannot hear you just yet. So hold tight. We'll give him just a second, see if he can pull it off. I hate to ever stop someone from being able to pull off a broadcast while they're in the room. All right, he's going to back off for a second. Sid, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Why don't you go next, and we'll ask you. I do recall seeing you on Blab, Sid, and I know we probably connected a couple of times, but when you're trying to host a show daily with hundreds of people coming in practically every week, it's really tough to keep an eye on the names and the people. So give the folks out there a little rundown of who you are and why you're here.
So I was on Blab. My story, I think, parallels the Blab story. I met over 40 people in real life through Blab since it ended. Including John. I was at his house, and ironically, I was at JS's house where John is right now.
In the same room.
Yes, exactly.
Everybody from Blab, this is your room. This is the Blab.
Now, when I first met JS, when I went to San Francisco for the first time, I told him we were leaving somewhere. I said, Blab is over. We have to go to Blab headquarters. And he's like, that's crazy. It's a block away. Let's go there. So we did a live stream on Facebook from right outside of Blab. And it was like, closing the loop of finishing it. And I wrote down some of the things that I was thinking about with Blab, or things that happened. Obviously, there's a lot that happened because it was like spending a year online. It always interested me that, when Blab ended, and Sean said that it wasn't the genre-defining, life-changing platform that he thought it would be. To me, it really was. Like, since AOL Instant Messenger with dial-up until now, this is the first time I really connected with people and made more interesting friends than I could have ever made otherwise. I was going through a very bad time in my life, and suddenly you find amazing things. So I made a list of things that happened. This is obviously not comprehensive, but it was fascinating with those bathtub blabs of people who are talking about who they're dating and Tindering all the time. I would just come in and watch it like a TV show.
Funny.
The stuff with Mark Preto, basically doing IoT integrations with Blab. I still have the goat on my desk, and every once in a while I pull out the Arduino and do some goat stuff. All the stuff that Helen came around. Helen invented this like whole community around what she was doing, primarily about goats, but there's a lot of other things too. And it was incredibly creative that rolled over into something else. I talked to Martin Shkreli the first day that he was on Blab, and I was actually on Fox. Like the third window was Fox interviewing him live, and I was on TV. It was really interesting getting to know Brittany Metz and seeing like the transition of, you know, being just a person who's there to being the person who gets screamed at constantly. I really had one of my highlights of my Blab time was making the Blab the musical, where we stayed up like making songs about all the people on Blab, and Ricky Prime's Hit It or Quit It shows, and for that matter, so many different shows. Like Cheatwood and Brittany Metz had a show that they had like pictures that they talked about. That was really fun. I still have my Blab little owl sitting on my fridge, you know, and going on Hit It or Quit It, and all these different things were so much fun and so interesting. But the most viral thing that happened to me was when JS highly hyped my pickles, and next thing you know, I sent pickles to every single. I have 2 T-shirts upstairs. I should put them on. I sent out like 50 jars of pickles all across North America.
2 bottles to my house.
There you go. So
the hot ones are amazing.
And that was like a made on Blab phenomenon, you know, like that actually, that was a thing. So I think it was interesting because every day was another adventure. You got to meet new and exciting people. And since Blab ended, I haven't met anyone new, you know?
Right.
And I've met people in real life, and those connections are not the same because you don't really get to know them.
Right.
And I think that it was really like a fundamental shift. It was like I would say in the past 10 years, one of the most important things that happened to me. And as a result, I met all these fascinating people and made so many real friends, you know? And Colin, I'm glad you're saving the pickles for a special occasion. I hear when they get to be 40 years old, they're worth way more money.
Like McCollin, yeah.
Exactly. When it's 60 years old, you could break it out and, you know.
So it wasn't just chocolate. There was pickles. There was there was some other hot stuff people were selling. Hot sauce. Somebody had some hot sauce.
Yeah. It was
Sriracha.
Yeah. That's Sriracha.
Sriracha, that was it. Can we hear you yet, Moonshadow? What do you got over there?
Oh, look I love those pickles. That's a great pickle.
I'm gonna jump.
Is it? Hold on a second.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Did you try refreshing out of that room? I'm going to hold a spot for Moonshadow for a second. But Sid, you're absolutely right. And what I think we found anyway, this is my theory, is that people, when Facebook Live came out, everybody thought they could make this transition from Blab into Facebook Live or YouTube Live.
Right.
But they couldn't really, because the social media aspect of Facebook kept them from being the people they are on the Blab type environment, because you had your friends and your family and your coworkers and your bosses looking over your shoulder all the time to see your live videos on that social network.
My boss looking over my shoulder,
eating a pickle.
Buddy.
Yes. I'm just standing here eating the pickle. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah.
There you are. All right. We've got Moonshadow finally.
Awesome.
Hey, Leland, I'm jumping off.
All right, John, I appreciate you coming. I'm going to lock that seat for just a second once you leave, because I want to know if Ricky Prime's in the room. I know his.
Oh, I just sent him a text. He said he's going to bed.
Oh, I wanted to get.
Unless somebody can convince him, one of the girls go convince him to come on. But
yeah, they would. They'd be able to do that.
I'm going to lock that for just a second until Shelton already jumped in, so I didn't get a chance to lock it. We're locked.
Talk to the internet.
Now. Moonshadow, let it roll. Tell us who you are, how you got to Blab, and what you're doing here.
Well, it was quite an experience. I can honestly say that I think to start off to say that something so cold, such a cold platform, meaning the digital landscape, to turn it into such a heartwarming experience is quite unique. You don't usually have that happen. So I have, it started off, you know, I had a YouTube channel for quite some time prior to launch Insight with Moonshadow on Blab, then jumped through a few different other hoops through platforms, still maintaining on YouTube. But the point was, it was something where these 4 spots, these 4 squares, they became part of my everyday. People like yourselves that I connected with on a daily basis. You know, there are people that we watched over when they were in, you know, in the hospital. If something went wrong with them, we were there for the closure of JS and Sid at Blab, having our psychological, emotional, traumatic closure at Blab Central in California. You know, if it wasn't for Blab, of course, Sid wouldn't have his pickles exposed. How where could you get your pickles exposed on everywhere without, you know, being happy with Blab? But ultimately, there were a lot of wonderful moments. They were good and bad and indifferent moments. People that I've met and people that I still love dearly and still speak to regularly. Other people that kind of left by the wayside. But we've all connected. We've all maintained that community. And it was, in the way the world is today, how divisive it is and how divided it is. And I'm not going to get into details. We all know. You watch 30 seconds of the news, you know how bad it is.
Right.
But I remember a happy moment for me, and one of my many happy memories on Blab was sitting in one of these squares, and there were 3 other people of different beliefs, different political affiliations, different genders, everything. And we sat and we discussed everything from sex to religion to politics, you name it. We spoke about it all. And not one of us raised our voice. Not one of us. Now, we didn't agree on everything. We didn't agree on everything.
Oh, yeah. No, never.
And Leland knows, because Leland and I have had conversations where he had a view and I had a view, and it wasn't the same view, but I can appreciate his view and he could appreciate my view, and we could see that space, you know.
And it's hard.
But Blab was awesome that way. And that's why as soon as I saw this with Get Vocal, I was like, oh, well, of course, there are people that I'm going to, you know, want to see and speak to. You know, you see Jen, you see Ellis, you see Anna here, Sid, of course, John Preto, Human 2.0. Some of these people I didn't get to emotionally connect with deeply or intimately, but I remember them. And they were just great people. So my experience, it was bittersweet. Some of it was like the best of any experience I can have, and there was some heartbreak.
Oh,
but at the end of it all, I'm glad it all happened. So you guys are just amazing.
Well, thanks for that.
So that's basically it. And I'm still doing it. I'm still in the digital landscape. It's just a shame that we don't have these 4 squares all the time. And now, you never know. This might be 4 Squares 2.0. I'm not even going to mention the name.
Everything elevates and evolves at some point in time or another, and I think that's what we're going to find here. Is that
your audio is way down.
Oh, my audio went way down. And now that could be the platform. Yeah, because I'm hearing a back feed from something. So again, this is WebRTC trying to recreate another aspect that we lost 2 or 3 years ago. So new technology, obviously, and they're already looking at other monetization models outside of what they would normally consider. So I'm looking forward to what they do here. but this is still infantile. There's a lot of work to be done here, obviously. I just happened to show up at a time where they said, well, let's get people over here so we can actually test it and make sure it's working right. So the image behind me, I just want to mention, was an image that was produced by a lady who was a spot dot artist. If you remember the way Picasso used to do his art, she would do this in pen and ink, and she worked at individual times when we didn't.
She was amazing.
And if anyone recalls her name, it was Catherine or something like that, I believe.
Catherine Salt, is it?
Suete.
And
So, there you go.
All these individuals
Yep.
and pasted them all together in this montage of all the people who were part of Blab. People will find themselves in there if they just dig deep enough. There's a good couple hundred on there. So, all right, we got to get on to Sheldon. Sheldon Baumgartner. How are you? Got Baumgartner, correct?
Bumgarner.
I'm terrible.
Well, this is something. This is something that I don't know that John Preto knows, but I think I got on Blab because he posted something to Periscope about Blab, and that was what if I remember the voice in the Periscope, I think it was John Preto. I think. Anyway, I did Blab pretty intensively for about 6 months once I learned it, discovered it, and it was a lot of fun. Made a lot of good friends. Had a lot of interesting experiences. I don't know. It was a very unique experience because I love to talk, and I probably, in hindsight, shared way too much about my life, and maybe should have kept some things private, but I can't go back and change it. So I learned a lesson, you know. So one thing I learned that I'm good at is I'm good at this medium. I'm good at managing this medium pretty well. I can do it pretty well given the opportunity. It's not something you really grow up to want to be someone who works with 4 blocks, but I'm pretty good at it. I'm a pretty good moderator. And it's interesting how when you hear other people talk about their experiences with Blab, if I compare it to my experiences with Blab, it's really interesting because I must have really bad social skills. Wow, do I have bad social skills? I'm impressed with how bad my social skills are. Does everybody else sound like they had a lot more fun than I did?
Would you say, Sheldon, that Blab was a test and a test of your vulnerability?
Yes, it was very much a test of my vulnerability. Very much so. Very, very much so. And I just like I'm a very social person, and I like to learn new things about people. But see, the thing is, people pick on me, and I don't understand why they pick on me. Why, am I just really easy to pick on? Is that what it is?
Probably, yeah.
I think when people expose themselves to this type of format where you have 4 people sitting next to each other like at a dinner table, and I really felt that, you know, this broadcast didn't need to be all that fancy. I just wanted to come out here and get this reunion marker up. I wanted to do a quick video, and then I wanted to get personal. I wanted to get out here and get back to that connecting point that we always had, which a lot of us did come in from Twitter, obviously, thanks to Periscope, and started to see this because Blab was announcing most of their stuff on Twitter to begin with. That's one of the features, and those little things that they added, the little nuances of the Jiffy, I'm sorry, that went out in display of who was in the broadcast, how the topics changed, things of that nature. We managed to stay on track, and I think that helped us connect better as individuals. And then there was always the trolls. There was always the people. Just like if you go to a reunion, you don't always get along with Uncle Joe or Aunt Franny. You just have to deal with those people that come in and want to cause strife. So we needed to learn a little bit, but I think it took Blab's demise to teach us that lesson.
Well, I am appreciative of the fact that 95% of the people on Blab were of good stock for the most part. We all have flaws. All of us are flawed. You know what I mean? And I myself, I'm flawsome, okay? Because that's how flawed I am. I'm flawsome. But the thing is, ultimately, we all have these things that we had to learn how to realize and how to navigate in Blab, right? So that vulnerability, like with Sheldon and countless drama that we saw go through it, I'm glad to say that there was only a very small percentage of trolls and people that were not very nice. The majority, at least from my experience, were good people like yourselves, you know?
Well, it's interesting to see. I mean, I somewhere, and if I had thought about this and prepared for this a little bit more, I would have actually dug this up. But somewhere I still have the spreadsheet of personality types of notable people on Blab. And it was a complete cross section, and there were no, there was no pattern to it. It was, the platforms like this allow introverts to maintain an extroverted persona without having to show up and get on stage and be extroverted. It's really quite convenient in that way. And yeah, you can throw darts all you want from a distance, but you're right. People of good intent shone through in the end.
Agree with you.
I'm sorry, that was where I was going with that. But I have a list here of things that I found entertaining. Now, in the time that between my saying hi and the text over here, and Sid saying hi, I went to the kitchen. I pulled out in less than 5 minutes Sid's pickles, sriracha sauce,
oh, there we go.
and my unopened Blab T-shirt.
Unopened? Oh,
which says something about my social life, I guess, that I had all of this stuff so easily at hand with no preparation.
And I asked for it, and I never got my swag. I asked for it long before. What's
Dude,
his face?
I think they sent me 2. Shoot me a message with your address. I'll send you one. I think I have 2 of these unopened ones.
Rock on. Awesome.
Jenny didn't give hers either. All right. So to maintain the integrity of the show, I'm going to ask the couple, Moonshadow and Sheldon, to step down for now. You're welcome to come back into the show later after we get some more people in.
You got it.
But Rand, while you're here, I know you mentioned what was going on and the demographic that we dealt with at Blab, but tell us how you got there.
So because at that time I was, my work involved integration of social media platforms into a platform run by a publishing client of mine. I ended up trying a lot of these things, and I found Blab through first Meerkat. And I don't know if anybody remembers Meerkat. They didn't last very long. Twitter decided that they didn't like the way Meerkat was spamming them. Every time anyone sent a message on Meerkat, it was duplicated on Twitter. And then I don't know. I think I was on Meerkat for 3 or 4 days, and then Periscope launched, and it became clear why Twitter tried to crush Meerkat. I think I was on Periscope for 1 day before I discovered Blab, and then that was the end of Periscope for me. It was great fun. Blab served as a distraction from a whole bunch of extremely inconvenient and tedious things I ended up having to do in my home life. I was dealing with a remodeling disaster for most of the time I was on Blab. I don't know. I'm sure someone has recordings of some of my beginning appearances on Blab. I was looking like Steve Jobs with no furniture and sitting cross-legged on a living room floor. But it was a useful distraction, that's for sure.
I agree, and thanks for that. I appreciate the candidness everybody's bringing to the table today, because that's what's most important about what Blab was. It was the ability to just be yourself and not come out here to try and be something else. And I think, as the shows started to generate, as people started to market themselves and brand themselves, because that was the talk, authenticity, real, raw and real, all those terms were jumping up. And even Sandra's got some stuff to talk about here in a second as well, because she had a marvelous brand that came out to that network as well. But as we pulled people together, I think the brands didn't mean so much anymore, and people just became friends, and that was the important part of it all. So thanks for that. JS Gilbert, I muted you because there was a lot of background stuff going on. And Rand, like I said, with the rest, I appreciate you coming out. It meant so much to get to know you as well out on Blab, because I know we spent a lot of late nights out there just hanging out.
Yeah, it was great fun. Hey, let me make some room for you here.
All right, I
have a good one, guys.
We'll see you again later. Stay active in that chat. Please share this out if you guys are here, especially if you're blabbers and know other blabbers that were here back in the day. And then I don't say mean here, but in this Foursquare symposium, you might say that we've got cranking. So JS, unmute yourself. Let us know who you are, what you do, why you showed up at Blab the way you did.
Me? I have no idea who I am or what I do, which is probably what led me to Blab, as so many of the other blabbers. Well, I'll start with how I got to Blab, because that's funny. I went to a San Francisco American Marketing Association mixer, and there were these like two very young people in the corner of the room who were just like, looked like lost little kittens. And I went over and introduced myself to them, and I asked them what they did. And the woman said her name was Brittany. And she worked for this company, and it was kind of like if you go online and you talk to people and she couldn't even explain it to me. And I thought, okay, that's really interesting. And they'd been in business for like a week. She just started working like 2 days before that. And they didn't have any business cards, and they didn't have a phone. They had nothing. And then she said, but we have this office that's like really cool. It's 27,000 square feet, and there's 12 of us, and there's what was his name? The chef. What was the chef? The coder, the chef. Brittany got pissed off at me because when she was running for the best Blab employee, I nominated him. And
you mean Chef Dennis?
And what?
Not Dennis. Not Chef
Yeah,
Dennis,
I can't remember his name. Anyway, no, not Chef Dennis. But so I wrote down blab.io, and I looked at it. I wrote it on the back of one of my business cards, and I looked at it, and I said, I don't know what the hell .io is. I like really didn't trust it. But then a few days later, I was bored, and I went in, and I'm like, this is not for me. And I left. And then I think about, about 6 or 7 weeks later, I got I got on their email list or whatever, and they sent the thing to me, and I tried to go back in, and I guess my account had been canceled or whatever. I don't know. I started a new account and got in and thought this was really interesting. And I'm such a voyeur, really is what I am. I'm a voyeur of people and life and situations. And I tell everybody my favorite book is called Influence, because pretty much what it talks about is the tools of influence, or how we control people, we do situations. So, but from there, I embraced it. I was probably on there as much as just about anybody else. And it also came at Gilberting the distorted audio. Yeah, that's right. I do have that dubious distinction.
Yeah, it's in the Urban Dictionary. If you want to go look it up online, just Google.
John just put it in there. Yeah, I see it.
Gilberting.
So, but it was great. And the thing that I that's also kind of cool is because I live in San Francisco, and I had a client that was just down the block from the Blab office. So I started going down there fairly often and getting to meet those people. And, they'd say, come on down for lunch and all that. And it was just the trippiest thing in the world. But trying to talk to them for me was very difficult, because I went to business school before they were born, almost all of them. And so I didn't quite understand their business model, or what they were trying to accomplish, or what they were trying to do. And then at the end, what was sad for me was I knew that they were pulling the plug. I was certain they were pulling the plug. And Sean and Furkan went on and told people I was full of shit. They had no reason to shut it down or whatever. And they kind of said to me, we could keep it open as long as we want. And then I thought, okay, well, because Michael Birch, who owns Monkey Inferno, who owns Blab, Michael Birch has like millions of dollars, and TalkBox, which is the RTC technology that allowed that to run, and also what this is running. This is here also on TalkBox.
That's not what I've been told, though. What I've been told by the developers is this is their own build, that they did not put this on TalkBox, that this is their own WebRTC.
OpenTalk. I'm sorry, they're using OpenTalk, which is part. Yeah, so it's a back end. But anyway, yeah. So, so he owned a part interest in it. So for them, there was no real desire for them to to get to make money off of this, but to try and figure out how for them Blab could make them $1 billion. That's what they were all about. So it was very much an all or nothing kind of thing. But then when they shut it down, I was really pissed off because I knew they were closing down. I was telling people, get your videos, get your all that kind of stuff. And I feel bad. A lot of people weren't able to get their videos. And it's sad. It's very sad how it ended there. But it was really interesting. I developed some like super close friendships. Sid's been here a number of times. John, I've been there. He's been here. Colin's been here. So lots and lots of people that I've actually gotten really very friendly with, and also have done business with, and otherwise. So I think what's going to happen, we have this weird period of time between Blab and now, and maybe another year and a half or two, where we're waiting for 5G to get here. And I think once 5G gets here, which will be download speeds of about 50 to 100 times more than we have now, we're really, really, really going to see these multiple window person-to-person things opening up. So, but I'm involved with some companies with 5G and do a little consulting there. What else do? I do voiceover. I've been in the advertising industry for a long time. So, what's that?
You were primarily a League of Legends voiceover artist, correct?
No, I did about 40,000 voices besides that.
Oh, I thought you were in the game as well. Okay.
Yeah, I do 5 of the voices for them, but I make more money from Coca-Cola ads than I do from League of Legends. But well, that's interesting. I did a League of Legends blab early on, and look at that. That is cool. I never saw that.
Wow. 3 minutes. I think she's telling you you're going over your time there.
Oh, I didn't know we had timing. I'm sorry. But I did a League of Legends blab early, which was really interesting. And it had like 2,000 people come in the room, but only about like 30 of them were registered. They were all guests. Anyway, that's yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to monopolize this thing.
My point. I didn't announce it very often. And during this Blab Reunion 2018, we expect to see a lot of people coming and going. So we're trying to do this Robin style, where people come in for 5 minutes, introduce themselves, let all the viewers how they showed up on Blab, why they're here for the reunion. So that's kind of where we were.
Okay, well, I'm going to mute myself then. All right. Or I can leave. But either way, put somebody else in the window. I do that.
And JS, I do appreciate the history, though, because that's something I think a lot of people needed to hear, because not everyone knew where Blab came from or how it was developed or what their intentions were as well. And I think we all thought that this beta platform was going to go big, but it never broke beta.
Michael Birch had an engine called Bebo, and he sold it to AOL for around $68 million. He wound up walking away with over $40 million. He bought it back a year later for $1 million.
I know, it's crazy.
And then that became Blab.
It's incredible.
So there you go.
And Blab
there you got the whole story.
Blab still exists as a remnant. If you guys want to go see what's available, if you search Blab, you'll find they're now connected to Twitch as an overlay channel, similar to what Streamlabs or any of the other things that are connected to OBS for like tip jars are for. So they have all this really cool graphic overlay stuff. The team moved on to bigger, better things as far as they're concerned, and that's where they're at. So Sandra Santorino, what are you doing in the house?
How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine, Sandra. What you got? What's happening with you?
Where are all the ladies, people? Hello. Outnumbered by all the dudes here.
You were the first one to step in on the female.
I have fast fingers, apparently. I don't know. I should be on a game show or something. Right. So this was my handmade crafty prop, because I am the queen of props, as Jenny said. I had a 3 o'clock show on Blab every Monday, and this was my prop, and it was called Blab Rehab, and it wasn't like a place for like crazy blabbers to go. My whole idea for my show was you would come in, an okay mood, but you would leave with positive energy. That was kind of my thing back then. Well, I'm still positive.
What was your hashtag? What was your hashtag?
My hashtag was my show was Blab Rehab. It was called. I had the website and everything. Yeah.
Before that, didn't you had those little cards that were like you had that story that everyone loved to hear about your daughter.
Say it forward. Yeah, say it forward. Yeah, say it forward. That's still a thing. Yeah.
Loved it.
That's still Yes, so I started in 2015 on Periscope for about a week, and then I happened to see, I think it was either Brian Fanzo or one of those guys broadcasting with 4 people, and I'm like, what the hell is that? I need to have that little bright, shiny object. And I was not even really into live streaming. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just hit that go live button, and I didn't care what people thought. I just went on and talked. And I told stories. I have no problem doing that. It runs in my family. My nickname was in high school was Yakabuchi because my main name was Yakabuchi. And my nickname rather was Yaka. And Blab, I think, was designed with me in mind because of its name. Well, at least I thought. So I just started going into Blab and popping into shows and offering value. And, it was just all about inspirational. It was sharing. It was about connections and friendships. And it was all centered around a community, which I am a big believer in to this day. I wouldn't be here today doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for Blab, because your community begins when you go live and you start to tell your story and people start to make connections and they become your people, right? And it grows from there. And really, when I was on Blab and Periscope back in 2015, I had no content plan. I had no content strategy. I had no coach or mentor. I was just doing it and having fun and meeting all kinds of people. And from all of that experience, and I even went on Snapchat for about a year and a half, they called me the queen of Snapchat. I think I was the only 50-something-year-old lady with all the 18 to 24-year-olds. But again, it was about community. And the women, I met a lot of women and men on there, but the women that I met on Snapchat, I even gained as clients and students in what I'm doing now. So my message is, it is all about community. If it wasn't for Blab and for all of you guys tuning in and all the amazing people that I met, I would not be here today. And you really just need to click that button and jump in. And Blab made it very easy to do. In fact, I really think I had an addiction. My family was about to send me somewhere because they're like, all you do, every time we turn around, you're in that thing, whatever that thing's called with those 4 people. I had my mother watching my show. She had all her friends watching. And yeah, it was a serious addiction, but fun at the same time. So what's happened to me since then, I still run the give back part to my business. I run a business called Say It International, but my big thing now, and again, back to Blab and Periscope and Snapchat and all that, I didn't know that it was my building block to where I am now, but I started a brand called Real Women Go Live, hashtag Real Women Go Live. And I teach women in business, entrepreneurs, how to use live video and live audio, like Alexa flash briefings and all that kind of stuff in their business to grow their community and their clients. So that is kind of where I am today. And again, I tell my story all the time. And I mentioned Blab and how the community begins somewhere. And it usually begins with 0, well, 4 in this instance. And yeah, that's my thing. And Say It Forward is my give back part to my business. And that's all about positive messages. And if you go to sayitforward.live, you'll see it's kind of connected to my business and what I do, teaching women live streaming. It's all about using our words to spread positive messages. And it's called Say It Forward. So it's like Pay It Forward, but with our words. So we crowdsource messages from people online, at schools, at senior developments, wherever we are. And we take those words and we put them on cards, and then we pass those cards forward and make face-to-face connections, which I really think is a big problem in society today because we're so addicted to everything mechanical, and look where we are now on our laptop. But Say It Forward has been great, just cheering people up, spreading positive messages, and making connections to people that really need, some love and some energy and some light in their life. So I could go on for another 15 minutes, but I think I hit my 5 minutes.
Sandra's all good. One of the people who managed to make life exciting out on Blab, I think, because you always had this positive vibe that was going. You were so lively on that platform, up and down, left and right. It didn't matter. When you came into a broadcast, you were just all about having fun. And I think that woke up a lot of people. And that started to get infectious. And that was the fun part of Blab. It was, we had all kinds of emotions run wild and rampant on that site. And that's where I hope we all learned how to maybe rein ourselves in a little bit when we get on these platforms, because this is a lot different than what we experience on Facebook or on Twitter or on YouTube. It's not that celebrity type broadcast. It's more about getting real and raw, like we always say, and just being yourself. So
yeah, and I think, and the other thing too, Leland, is you mentioned the fun. I always teach people this, and this was sort of my thing back in Blab, the power of 3, I call it. Describe yourself or your brand in 3 words. And even before I hit that go live on Periscope in 2015, my 3 words, which were all about me, were fun, energy, and creativity. And they were sort of stored here, but they kind of came out when I hit that button. And the cool thing on Blab, and then I'll shut up, I promise. The cool thing on Blab was people would pop in, Leland, and they'd be like, oh, so-and-so told me to watch you because you're the energetic one or you're the fun one. And my head was going like, oh, so they actually feel those 3 words that I'm trying to convey. And so that's sort of my little message to you. If you're new to live streaming, if you're already going live, make people feel that, because that's how your audience is going to grow and you're going to bring people in. And so that's it. All right, I'll be quiet.
Well, thanks, Sandra. And I think for that, we're just going to, I appreciate the fact that all of these people are showing up like they are. I simply posted a couple of posts out to Facebook and it went viral. So I just have to thank all those who are here today watching and waiting patiently to come out. So Sandra, I'm going to ask you to step down so that we can open up another
lady. Put a lady in my seat, Leland. Put a lady here.
I'll lock it until I get a female that can.
Right.
Patricia, Anna, Coach Jenny, we see you out there. I'm going to wait until I hear from you in the chat. But yeah, the audio is going to be a little rough. I can't refresh or I blow the broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. So I'm going to do what I can. If I raise my voice, is that helping the broadcast at all? Can you hear me better? Or is there a glitch with my voice?
Oh, it's fine now.
Because sometimes I mumble, and that could be my problem. I'm just mumbling. Steve, let's have it. What brought you to Blab? How'd you get here? And I just appreciate you coming. So let's hear what you've got to say.
Oh my God, this is so much fun. I came like totally by accident. Like I don't know if anybody knows who Joe Espino is, but he used to do infomercials, and he was doing a thing about how to make money on social media and stuff like that. And one of his things he jumped on was Blab. So I checked it out and immediately went from like investigating that to finding a group of just really like cool people to hang out with. And one real quick story that kind of sums up Blab for me. Well, 2. I'll make 2 quick stories. One of them was nobody was on Blab, probably the middle of the day, really kind of boring. And I had, I always called it Steve Stupid Blab. And it was really about nothing all the time. It was just, it was just joking around and stuff. And, but this guy came on from Iraq, and he had his views about the United States, and I had, my views about his country. And by the end of the time, me and him talking together, like the barriers were down. It was so, it was life changing. It was so cool, so cool. And then just overall, I think just the people that I hung around with were so much fun to be around. Like I gravitate towards the ridiculous, over the top people, and that's that's who came. Like, you know, if you build it, they will come. And so yeah, Bobby Shadow, by the way, probably spammed the crap out of your link. So he was doing that probably for 3 days straight.
And he did it with the wrong graphic to start. So thanks, Bob. It said like October 8th, 8 p.m. Pacific, and all kinds of other stuff.
Right.
The guys here at Get Vocal, and I'm calling them out on it because one of the Alexes sent me the image to do this, the one you see behind me, and it was always messed up on the bottom banner there for some reason or another. I kept sending it back, and it was like, no, we need a new graphic. I can't use this graphic, and Bobby was just shooting it all over. So it was like I had to post on mine. Slow down. This is the right one. Bobby's posted all kinds of other.
Yeah, but it's just quality people. I mean, it was like Sid. The opposite sides of the spectrum. Like he's I don't know, to describe Sid is impossible. I don't know if anybody can accurately do it or not, but I got a really good friend out of the whole deal, and it's I'm grateful for it. I'm so grateful for it.
That's good. I'm glad that everybody that's been connecting so far has had such a wonderful experience with Blab. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if those who's had terrible experiences aren't going to show up. That's
exactly right. Yeah.
We as ourselves had bad experiences, and I won't get into the details of the experience, but I think I'll tell you why most of them happened, and it was simple miscommunication or the fact that there were some people that had some devious undertones that wanted to kind of see the dramas unfold. So there were a lot of things that were made to be truths that weren't really truths, or stories that were brought out on other channels that weren't really true. So we had to be careful where we walked. Yeah, and I want Anthony to come on. I need a little more volume from you, Anthony. Can you try turning up your mic a little bit or getting closer to your mic?
Can you hear me?
Jumped out already. So we need some females. I'm going to open up the seats, please. Ladies, jump in if you're here.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, Anthony. Just do what you can to stay near your mic so we can hear you well.
Let me get closer here. Anyway, my name is Anthony Davis. Many of you know my name is. I do go by Tony, my nickname. How I found out about Blab was, as many people, if you know me, I am very involved in the web series community. People who make content for YouTube and other video platforms like YouTube and things like that. So I'm very active in that community. I support a lot of the people who do that. How I got involved in Blab is that this group that does independent films called Seaworthy Films would used to come on Blab, and they would promote their web series and promote their independent films by having a Blab by doing their characters of their web series called it was called Tweet the Series, about a girl who bought this broken iPhone and ended up being haunted. And so they would do this Blab, and they would play the characters on the Blab, and they would interact as the characters. And so that's how I got to know about Blab, was through the web series community. A lot of people who did the web series would often come on and talk about the web series and do a few things, but not a lot of people did a lot of the stuff of their web series like I would have wanted them to. It was a thing of, let's just come on here and meet other people. But there was some interesting Blabs that did come out of that. So anyway, I got involved in Blab mostly because of them. Before they did their Blab, I got to know a lot of people on Blab before I got to know their Blab, and got to meet a lot of people that way. Just kind of want to wrap this up really quick because
you're fine.
I'm being close to.
Don't feel rushed. I'm not going to rush anyone here. If they've got something to say, they can.
No, but I just kind of want to end it with this. The things that I learned mostly on Blab is this, and the three people here, I'm glad you're here, so I can be able to finally tell you this in person. Mark Prophet, I tell you, the best thing that you ever taught me was you taught me that this is hard for me to say.
That's
You
okay.
taught me to understand how I think. That was probably the best thing in the world that you've ever taught me, Mark. Is you taught me how I learned how to think, and because of that, I have had a lot of clarity through the years because you taught me a lot. Moonshadow, if you're listening, you taught me how I learned how to think, but you taught me in a spiritual way, in the most spiritual way I've ever heard done. And that's probably the best thing that ever come out of Blab is Moonshadow teaching me how to think, but in a spiritual manner. Leland, the best thing you ever taught me to say, to do, is speak up. You told me that once. You said, speak up when you need to speak up, and shut up when you need to shut up.
I do recall those conversations because we sat down late after Blabs, even IMing back and forth at times, because sometimes it's hard for people to be on camera and talk about their problems. But just like you saw just now, there were people who were willing outside of Blab to continue the conversation. And that's what meant so much to everyone, was the fact that, yeah, these connections were made on Blab. They were developed on Blab, but it was the true heartfelt connections that were carried outside of Blab and taken to other media. So that's what really resonated, I think, with most of the people on that site, and why it's talked about so much is because we just can't seem to get back that connecting point that we managed to carry forward. And we don't see that as well on sites like Facebook and YouTube. It just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah. And you know, those three things alone really did influence my life. I really do thank Blab a lot for coming in my life and really getting me to really think about my actions, think about my attitude, think about my opinions, think about my feelings, open up a little bit more, learn to shut up when I need to shut up. even that part I'm still having problems with.
No, hey, that's not even. Everybody's got that problem when it comes down to it. Believe me, that's the case. It's tough for all of us. The thing I want to stress with you, Tony, one thing in particular, is that you've always been someone who's very faithful. And I think that's an important factor in life that a lot of people overlook. And that's the reason we've always stayed connected, because I felt that you'd never give up on anyone and you were always there for someone when they needed you to talk to. So I commend you just for being that person that's always there and available when somebody wants to be there. So you opened up a whole new channel here tonight because you've been the first to shed a tear, and I appreciate that, because I know I'm going to share a couple before this evening's over, I'm sure, and there'll probably be more to follow as well. And there'll be more offshoots of this. There'll be other reunions. There'll be other Click reunions that are going to take place. This is just my following. This is just the people I knew, and I brought them, and they've expanded on that and brought themselves to this party. So I just want to thank all of you who are here, because that means a lot to me. It really does. So with that said, Anthony, I'm going to ask you to step down as well, like I have the ones before you.
Anyway, it's good seeing everybody. I really appreciate it. Mark, Moonshadow, Leland, everybody, I appreciate you. Everybody get a chance. One quick thing, I do want to kind of do a plug. Since I am involved in the web series community, if you're a creative person and you want to plug your creative outlet, I will gladly let you do so on my Facebook group, which is called Web Series Friends. It is for you to come on and get the connections and the resources you need. Again, it is called Web Series Friends. It supports web series, podcasters, independent movie makers, people who get their money through crowdfunding. Please feel free to come over there anytime you'd like to, promote whatever you want to, meet whoever you want to. I started out with 30 people 4 years ago, and now it's growing strong at like 2,600 plus
that's
members,
awesome.
And growing daily. So
you heard him, Web Friends, and you have a Facebook page too for Web Friends too, don't you? Or the web?
Yeah, that's for Web Series Friends.
Web Series.
My like page, Lizard's Mate, for my YouTube channel, and all that stuff. So
we'll find you.
So let me shut up now, because it's now time to shut up.
Good.
And
Don't worry about it. Just to touch on a few things. So, Anthony, thanks once again. We'll see you in the chat. I'm sure. Please stick around if you can and remain part of the conversation. I just want to say hi real quick before I get you out here, Coach Jenny, to a friend of mine down here in the corner, Carla Reichman, who is coming to us. Hi. I just wanted to say hi, and then I'm going to go. Hi. So, Carla, hold tight. This is a round robin. As people come in, I take them one at a time, give them 5 minutes to talk, and then from there, the next person goes, and then I ask them to step down so another person can come in. So,
can I ask a question? Yep. How do I write a message? I'm not even sure how I got on.
There's a Rayhan probably sent you the link over in the upper left corner.
I got it from someone else from Blab.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. There's a little double bubble up in the left that'll open up the side chat because it's right now, so you'll have to pop it out. Coach Jenny.
Yo, boss. What's up?
How'd your event go, man? I'm sorry I missed you in Chicago. I really wanted to come out there. And see
it hasn't happened yet. You haven't missed it. You had 2 more weeks.
Really?
Good try. Nice try.
Come on.
Hi, everybody. This is so exciting. All right. Can you hear me okay? Is my audio okay? All the things you ask on Blab.
I'm going to mute you guys down below for just a second.
Okay. Oh, you have muting privileges.
I do, but you guys have to unmute yourselves. I cannot unmute you. So that's
okay. Good to know.
Yeah. All right. So, Coach Jenny, you were one of the original blabbers.
Yes.
You were one of the first people to do a show. I know that for a fact out there because we were all playing with the high tech stuff and trying to create these broadcasts. Tell me your experience. What was Blab like for you? How did you find it? What did you do while you were there, and what did you take away from it?
I found Blab and Periscope on the same day. I found out about it on the same exact day. So I did my first Periscope and my last Periscope that day. And then I did my first Blab, and the rest was history. I just made this my home. I remember Shoshana's in the house. I remember telling Shoshana, I'm like, oh my God, get your ass over here. My first Blab was like me just blabbing at poor Shoshana. And I said, I'm going to live here now. I'm going to be the queen of Blab. I've decided. And I just loved it. Now I showed up here with different goals. It's really hard to go after Anthony, y'all. I'm just saying. My goals were much more businessy. You know, I have a coaching practice and I wanted to fill my coaching practice, and Blab gave me a way to do 2 things that were really special for my business. Number 1 was it gave me a way to demonstrate what I did. And that's what I'm really excited about Get Vocal. I've already been testing it out this week, and it's going to give me that same ability to do that and, you know, kind of showcase the coaching. But the big thing that Blab did for me is it helped me birth my book. Blab was where I actually sourced and did all of the research for my book on the inner critic. Now, I know a lot of people were able to use Blab to do techie things, but I can't even spell WebRTC, people. I don't understand any of that crap. I have to ask Leland all those questions. But for me, you know, what I was able to do was really have amazing conversations. And what I was blown away with is I ask really personal questions that are none of my freaking business for a living. And people would come on a Blab that they know is recorded and talk to me about how their inner critic screws with their love life and give me permission to include that in the research for my book. It was insane. And so when my book came out and Blab had died, it was so sad to not be able to have the same blabbers be part of the whole journey, but I was able to drag them over to Facebook, and I'm excited to drag them back over here. So that was my experience.
Awesome. Because this is like your style, isn't it? This is your way of doing what you do in coaching, is getting a group of people together, not so much just one-on-one. You're like working the table, you're working the stage, you're kind of doing all that together, and this gives you that opportunity to do so, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, I can do some one-on-one coaching, but it's not my sweet spot. My sweet spot is group coaching and facilitating really juicy conversations that are pretty like I said, in your face and in your space. And Blab let you do that. And what was so cool is that, and that's what I'm excited about with this too, is you can be part of that conversation, get on camera and be vulnerable, or you can kind of stay in the sidebar for a while and kind of participate in the conversation safely behind your picture and your keyboard until you're ready to come in. And there were a lot of people that were able to do that instead of booking a call with me, they would be able to participate in these sessions. So it was really cool. I met a lot of cool people. I shared a lot of my opinions. I miss being summoned. Do you guys remember that? When people could tag you in a blab and you would say, hey, somebody wants to know what you're up to. And I would be summoned into there. And always really fun to be like, who was talking about me?
Yeah.
What's happening here? It's really fun. I miss it.
Yeah, they pulled that mentions tab for a while there, and I've already spoke with people here at Get Vocal, and the one thing they really want you guys to try out while you're either here or when you come back to the system is check out that Match Me Up button over to the right. I'm not sure what kind of algorithms they're using or if they're using AI to represent who should hook up with who, but it basically allows people here on Get Vocal to search for other people searching for other people, so that they want to sit down and talk. Even if they don't know each other as friends, they can hook up in a conversation in a private room with, you know, the video calls. So they've got a lot of other things coming as well, things that might work for people who don't want to come on camera, whether it's going to be their avatar or actually like you see on Instagram and Facebook with the mobile live feature of adding masks to your face, so that you can hide yourself behind a mask. And that would also, and I see that technology used a lot. So it's something we're looking forward to here as well, I'm sure. And
I'm really excited. I got to meet one of the Alexanders. I'm not sure which one of the Alexanders, and Gisela here this week. And it's exciting to see what they are working on. It's going to be very cool.
Yeah. Okay. And to make friends, there's a couple ways, folks, just to remind you. Over in the right where it says who's here, there's a small plus next to the people's avatar. If you pick on the avatar, it'll take you to their profile quickly, where they can have a header graphic, an intro image video, or a video, a bio, answer some questions like 2 truths and a lie, or the craziest thing you ever done. So check out some of the people's profiles and see what they've got. And from that, you can also use that Match Me Up feature, but we want you to also use the pull downs from the windows. I've found that some people have had difficulty friending while they're on the broadcast in the seat.
Oh, I see it there.
If you're in the who's here or messages, let's say, use the pull down above each frame where the person's name is, and you can also friend them there, see how many friends they have. And they got more coming, like communities. Those are going to be another feature to this site that could really skyrocket this platform to a new level. So
I'm crazy excited. Yeah, I jumped on the bandwagon. I'm a broadcaster. Come watch my shows. They're going to be fabulous. And Leland, thank you for organizing this. I'm going to head over to the cheap seat so somebody can get in the hot seat. But it's good to see everybody.
Thanks, Jenny. I appreciate you coming to the broadcast. And Carla, you are next. So this is a friend of mine, Carla Reichman. We got to meet Richmond. I'm sorry. I always want to pronounce it Reichman when I see your name.
Everyone does.
I'm sorry. Carla teaches English every day in live streaming using Zoom through Facebook Live. And she has influenced so many individuals from over in Southeast Asia, Pakistan, India, South Africa, you name it. They're coming from all over the world to watch her show so that they can come in and learn English. So I'm excited to have you here today, Carla. I know you're not a blabber, but can you give us
a little...
Well, you were? I didn't know you were on Blab, really?
I was a big blabber.
Oh my gosh.
I'm surprised to see you here. I think Brandon invited me.
Oh, hilarious.
And I thought it was Brandon's broadcast. I'm like, I'm a little surprised.
Did you know me from Blab?
I'm a little confused by the platform, but that's okay.
Did you know me from Carla? Do you remember me from there?
Oh, yeah, Brandon, I remember you very well with Charlene.
Oh, yeah, I remember Charlene. She's probably still here in the chat, or she's gone to bed already. She was going to play pool, but she showed up. Charlene, there's a spot open if you'd like to come in real quick. But then tell us, Carla, I didn't know you were broadcasting there. For some reason, we met well beyond Blab, so I'm excited to know you were there now. Tell us your story. I want to know more about it.
I was there a lot. Sandra Centronino, I could never pronounce her last name, got me to Blab because I don't even remember how we met. I found her and she was very inspirational, and I thought, I want to know about you. And she got me on Blab. And the rest is history. I was there as the Laughter Revolution. And I was laughing a lot on there.
Great laugher, I'll admit. That's one of the broadcasts she does, is where she comes out and just gets people to laugh by hilariously opening up those vocal cords and just letting people have it. That's the way it should be done, I think. So,
And but
keep going, Carla. I'll give you a few more minutes. What else you got to say about Blab? I want to hear the experiences you ran into.
I loved Blab. I was so sad when it died. I couldn't believe it. I wasn't always there. I did spend a lot of time in the beginning there, and then I kind of backed off for a little while because of things that were happening in my life, and then I'd come back. But I remember Joe. Oh, who was the music guy, Brandon? Help me.
Oh, JoJo
The
Keys?
guy who sang.
JoJo Keys, he's here.
Yeah, he's here tonight. I'm going to get Joe. He's
Joe
over there.
is
Who's here right now?
Really?
Joe is here in the wings. Yep.
Yeah, you're talking about. Are you talking about Joe Simon?
Yes.
Oh, Joe Simon, maybe a different one. That's
Yeah.
the one I didn't know.
It was the other Joe. And I remember going on his show, and he loved it when I came because he could laugh and made him laugh. I used it to kind of bring up my laughter meditation, and it was way before I met Rayhan, or he may have met me through Blab. I don't know.
And if we're mentioning, you guys aren't familiar with, just so they know, Carla, how we met. Rayhan Alawala is an entrepreneur, world citizen, you might say, from Pakistan, who developed the concept of VoIP, really, is what it comes down to, voice over internet protocol. He was the key creator behind that whole platform that now is used by Google and several others.
Oh, yeah. I should have.
And Carla and I met through him. He just happened to travel over to the States. So he has a company in Pensacola, Florida. And we met through him. And it's just taken off since then. In live video, we both just are working the world now. We're not just playing the cheap seats or playing the local, pub. We're broadcasting globally to markets I never thought I'd ever broadcast to. So,
and I'm meeting all kinds of cool people throughout the world and speaking to them in English from all over every day, 5 days a week. Sunday is for kids, and Monday through Thursday is for anyone who wants to come and speak.
And is that just on your regular profile that you do that, or do you have a page set up for that, Carla?
Actually, I do it on Rayhan's page.
Oh, that's right.
So you can find it at Rayhan's page, and then you can. I also share it out to my page.
Okay, awesome. Well, keep an eye out for you, Carla, because I'm just glad to hear that you were actually a blabber. I had no clue from the time we met, so this is kind of exciting.
What I would like is for more people who are English speaking to come to the show, so people who are not English speaking learn that English is spoken in so many different ways, and there is nothing called perfect English.
Really.
And Sandra, if you're still here, thank you, lady. I'm very thankful to you for bringing me to Blab.
Sandra,
and I think you also connected me with Rayhan.
Oh, really? Well, that's even better.
Yeah.
All right, Carla. Well, I thank you so much for your story. I'm going to move on to the next person. You're welcome to sit for a minute if you feel the need, but if we could, we'd like to open up those seats so that we can get the next person to come on in. I'm going to deal with Brandon. I'm sorry?
If you need me to leave, I will leave.
Until I actually see somebody saying something in the seats, I don't. So if there's someone here that wants to come in next, please pop up some chat so that we can see who might want to come in here, and I'll bring you in by name if I have to. So we'll go from there. All right, Brandon, let's hear it. What do you got for us today? I know it's been, you're going to have to unmute yourself before you start talking.
I'm unmuted.
Nice to have you here.
Oh, I don't see the
Okay, so hey guys, gals, and furry pals. Blab came along for me at a really crucial time in my life. As everybody knows, most people know, I was in a nursing home. And I had been bedbound for a year, and I met people on Blab near the end of that year. So it helped me get through a lot. And you know, it was there what I needed. It was a great tool. I learned about it. I was on Periscope, and a lady that would come and talk to me, she said, "Come check out Blab." I said, "Okay." I went over there, and it was the beta actually, and I didn't know how to operate it, so I signed up, and I was like, "Shit, I can't get into this." So I just left it for about a month, and then I came back. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this. So I got into Blab finally, and I freaking loved it. The people were amazing. I met so many wonderful people over the time. In that course, I was getting up out of bed. I was learning to walk all over again. And I won an award in the Blabbies for most likely to succeed. So during the 3-year course of me being in there, I finally lost down to less than 500 pounds, and I have my own apartment now. So it was such a great tool to keep me motivated, meet people that really cared about me, and I love it. And the award was not in vain. I'm out. I'm good. I mean, and there was many people that I met that they're not around no more, sadly, like Joel and the Private Man, and there was a lady that used to DJ, and I can't remember her name.
Yes, as well. And who was the gentleman that you mentioned? One, I think. Who was the gentleman that was missing an eye due to cancer? And
that's the Private Man.
That's what I thought. Okay, and
yeah,
I recall him, the DJ, which I can't remember her name as well, but that was the thing. There were just so many people to keep track of, even though we didn't always know each other by name. We still knew of each other, or we knew who, and you would just pass and you'd remember their name when they showed up on the broadcast, because you can't possibly keep up with everyone. If you see someone once a week, you're not probably going to remember their last name, but it came down to the repetitiveness, the people going out every night and staying up until 3 a.m. just to discuss life matters and things that were happening with yourself. That was the huge part about it all, I think. It's awesome. Awesome story. All right. If you got anything else you want to give the crowd here while you're on the seat there, Brandon, anything else you'd like to fill us in on?
I mean, basically, I'm continuing to lose weight, taking my life back, and I want to do this naturally, because I want to show people that they don't have to be trapped in their body. They can set out to achieve great things if they really believe in themselves. And that's what I do. And I just go ahead.
Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt. I thought you were probably.
Okay.
I thought you were done.
It's okay.
You remember Fitness X, I believe it was. He was the gentleman who was in a similar position to yourself, a few hundred pounds heavier than he should have been. And he ended up on the Today Show while we were still in Blab broadcasts. And everybody made a big thing about, we brought him on to Blab Nation as well. And that was the kind of success story that we kept hearing over and over from people who were like yourself, unable to reach out to others. They couldn't have that connection that us who are freely able to just get up and walk around and go meet people have. And I have to thank you for just coming there day after day, time after time, to maintain those connections, because look what it did for you. It brought you to where you are today. And I think that's just
845 pounds in a bed, battling for my life. So, I mean, again, great things. But thank you for having me. Thank everyone here, because I knew most of you. I didn't go into the big rooms, but, I did do Angel Hill's show. I did Joe Simon's show. I did Joel's show. So, I mean, it was good stuff. But I love you guys, and hopefully we have many more of these.
Yeah, I think we're going to find this is going to be a go-to place as we move ahead, and at least to reconnect. That's all I was hoping for. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate you. Anna, we got you next. Come on up. Anybody else wants to grab that seat? I see Charlene jumping in, so make sure you unmute yourself before you go, Anna, and let's hear your story about Blab. Oh, we got to unmute yourself. Just hit the little mic thing right in front of you. It should be a little mic symbol right there on your Foursquare. I can't mute you. I can't unmute you. I can only mute you. Did it mess up? You can't undo it. Just go ahead and refresh. Then you should be able to pop right back in. We'll save the seat for you. All right. While she's refreshing, I'm going to let Charlene go ahead and give us her experience out on Blab real quick. I know Anna's been waiting.
Woo-hoo. Hey there, Leland.
Yep, I can hear you. Let's see if we can hear Anna first. Let's just her before we get you going. I know she's I didn't expect her to jump quite in so fast. Nope. Go ahead, Charlene. This brings me back to the Blab. Wait, something's not working. Wait a minute. Can we hear the audio? Wait, can we do this? Where'd the video go? Wait, who happened? Where'd they go? You know, you just basically sat there all the time. Tell us your story.
Well, my story's pretty simple. Back in 2015, I don't remember how I got introduced to Blab. I honestly, I don't. I just know that I was fascinated with the coffee shop aspect of it, that it was an open conversation around a coffee shop table and people around the edges were listening in and every once in a while jumping in with something. And, you know, somebody would get out of their seat and somebody else would bring your cup of coffee and join into the discussion. And I loved that. And it came at a time when I was really struggling out of what I call survival mode. I was trying very, very hard to get back up, right? I was making changes in my business. I was okay. It was just I had known times when I was better inside, and business-wise, I had been much better. But I needed to be different personally as well as with my business. And so I started the Morning Mindset Cafe, which was named by somebody else. They're one of the people that were showing up every weekday morning. I had people show up and we would read a little bit of Think and Grow Rich or Success for a Positive Mental Attitude. And then we would have a 1-hour discussion. And I have to tell you that being able to do that with people who were willing, just as Coach Jenny said, people were willing to be truthful with the struggle of a principle or with the reality of what it is to actually have experienced the ups and downs, the changes in life internally, making changes in your thinking, that I soon found myself, and it was within a matter of months, that I was getting into thrive mode. And so throughout the entire 2016, I was making a lot of personal changes. I attribute it to the morning program. The people who shared with me allowed me to share a little bit with them. And it really was a springboard for me to becoming the person that I had once been and better.
And I think you did a wonderful job that whole time. I know I showed up for many broadcasts here and there, but I wasn't a regular. I'll admit that.
It was too early for you.
Yeah, that was the thing. I could never get out of bed in time. Even rolling in on Blab Nation, Jonathan would start the broadcast at 10, and I always rolled in at like 10:05 with my hair still, trying to make my hair work. And it was like, oh, hair, hi, how's everybody doing today? It was just kind of my trademark thing, and I don't know if anybody really cared for that, but that was just the way I rolled. So what did you take away from Blab in the end, Charlene? What did it really mean to you to have that experience out here or out there?
Well, in the end, I think that I tell people that I am an introvert, and at one time had suffered extreme anxiety. And before I started my business, was a horrible person when it came to interpersonal relationships. I did not know how to have conversations with people outside of this is what you say, when you say it, how you say it, time to go on, bye, see ya, right? And what Blab taught me was how to be more social. And it gave me an opportunity to practice being more social because I had the freedom to say, you know what, I'm just going to give up my seat. I'm done. And nobody said anything about being offended or being put off by it. I watched other people do it, have the freedom to be nervous, to be relaxed, to be whatever. When you're done, you're done. So you just move off, right? And so it gave me a platform to just practice being social. And that's, I'm telling you, it's a big deal.
If people went back to my first broadcast with Blab on Jonathan's initial shows before we actually created Blab Nation, you guys would laugh. You would, and I know, Charlene, you've probably seen a couple of those, but it was just one of those things that you had to learn it. You had to get uncomfortable in your comfortableness. You had to go that extra mile to kind of make yourself do what you were afraid to God to do, and that was touch that jump in the seat button. You just weren't ever sure whether it was safe to get in that seat because the conversation.
Well, you nailed it. See that, but the thing is, one thing I know for certain is that every time I was able to become the person that I had wanted to become throughout the 50-some odd years I've been on this earth has been because I looked, I saw, and I said, I want to be like that. What do I have to do to be like that? And every step of the way, it's very uncomfortable until, as you said, you get to your comfortableness. Leland, just for you, I wore this for the broadcast because I did really, really well at the tournament today. Yes, she rocked.
Right.
It's a good thing. Yeah, all right. So that's it. That's all I got.
No, I love it. I got my shirt on. This is my shirt.
I don't have one of those, but I have my my pool playing shirt, so it's not a problem.
Well, I appreciate you, Charlene, because you and I have connected on a much deeper level than what Blab took us to originally. We got not only connected from a business perspective, but somewhat of a personal. I consider Charlene one of my confidants. So when I have some serious issues that I'm dealing with, whether it's in business or maybe even just a little bit outside in the normal world, I go to Charlene and I talk to her about it. And that helps me to recycle myself a little bit or reboot my brain and think a little differently about it when I came to her. So it's been helpful. And I want to thank you up front here in front of all these others that you've done some wonderful things for me since we've got to meet each other out Blab. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, Leland. So I consider you a friend, you and Jenny. Honestly, to just shout it out to everybody here that if I got a phone call from either one of them, I know the distance it would be 6.5 hours, I think. If need be, I'd be at their house if they needed me there.
You know it. And you're not
all right. I'm going to empty the seat because we got some more other women coming in, and I think it's great that more women are popping up. It's great to see everybody.
And where can they find you, Charlene? Over at the Grow Alliance on Facebook, correct?
Yes, the Grow Alliance, where every weekday morning I post a morning mindset. It's just not live.
Yeah, but we get fun. If you get in that group, you still doing your Saturday live open for everybody so that if somebody
it's open for anybody who wants to jump in. Yeah, it's a little more organized coming into 2019.
There you go.
Yeah, all based on living the success principles to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. All right, see you guys.
Nice. Gotta love the taglines. Thanks, Charlene. Appreciate you coming and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Anna, thanks so much for being so patient. You got to unmute yourself again. Let's see if this works. If it doesn't, I'm going to let you refresh and come back. Is it going to work? Did it block you again? Did it really? You want me to go to Stacy? You guys are both muted right now. You have to unmute yourselves. Okay,
I
Stacey,
unmuted myself.
You can't unmute yourself, Anna? Is there something wrong with that? It won't do it?
It should be the little one right next to your...
Yeah, right next to your name there should be a little microphone. No, you got no. I still see the mic up on top there. Jump into that other seat. Just jump out and jump into another seat. For some reason, don't refresh. Just leave the seat and come into another one. And that way there won't be a mute. I muted you and it probably locked the mute on you so you can't get out of it. We're just going to... I want Anna to talk because she's been sitting here for 10 minutes waiting.
Been waiting patiently.
I want to let her in. And we got Joseph Burkhart's coming in the other corner. So
oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
All right,
all right.
Grab the screenshot.
Oh, this is like Blab. Just
yes, it is.
Oh
this
wow.
We got together every now and then on occasion. So yeah.
All right. So I don't know if I have an echo or not. I have headphones on and I have a mic, but I don't know if I clicked the correct mic for this thing. So the long and the short of it, I found Blab from a tweet from Eric Tivers, who did a conference on ADHD for ADHDers. And so when I first got here in October 2015, I looked at the screen and it was like, boom, addicted. You know, just that fast. Because it was 4 screens, a chat. And we all know what it was, but it was sort of like this. But it was just,
Yeah, it was a little, yeah, the gifting and the table flip icon and all that goodness. I wasn't quite OG. I think I was there, whatever October was to August. Was that?
Oh, yeah.
7 months, 8 months? I don't know. The timer thing at the end of Blab kind of futzed up. So, yes, Pop X.
There it is.
Well, hello.
All right.
Mortals. Sorry.
Oh, you rock.
So besides the ADD thing, and I know there were several offshoots of that as well. Even April Roga and those took that to the extreme too, because her son has autism. So
Yeah.
there were several different spectrums of health-related platform speakers where they were coming out and helping people. And I think that was the key. Even help outs on Google was in its infancy, but it fell apart and went away during Blab. I don't know if anybody even knew what that was, but that was Google's way of getting paid to do things. So how did you use the platform the most? I mean, did you just connect with the people who had ADD, or were you connecting with the parents?
No, I think it was just how I got introduced to the platform was from that conference. That was the first day. And like the first 3 days was coming back to the conference, coming back to Blab, and then getting into the habit of being a part of the scene. Joe, what a beautiful eyeball you have.
This is what we encounter on Blab.
We all know his ball. Never mind. I can't even say that, then.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, Anna.
We can't control these other screens. Oh, you went blurry on yourself.
Oh, I know. I know.
So how did I do this here? I think what I did here was what I've been continuing to do for the last 3 years, which was facilitating other people's Blabs or live streams by dropping links and trying to be a good community member and giving a lot of energy to people's broadcasts. So that's what I did.
And what are you doing now that you've left Blab? After you went away from Blab, where did that take you? Where did that lead you from there?
Well, I think a lot of us found, is it really echoey and horrible? I'm sorry, people. Yeah, not Blab After Dark. Thanks, Lindsay.
I'm not.
Smile.
I'm still doing what I was doing there, just on Facebook and also on YouTube. And I actually have gotten paid for what I do from some sponsors for a show that I'm an associate producer for. So there you go.
That's what you do. Story. I love to hear the success stories that are coming out of Blab, because most of us didn't know what the hell we were doing when we started this journey. But a lot of us, I myself am a broadcast background and things of that nature, but it wasn't really until Blab that I was able to make these kind of a permanent fixture to my head and have a microphone nearly attached to my face. So it's just something that evolved over time. That's all you got? You got a message you can leave behind everyone before we turn this over to Stacy?
I think another thing I found out about there was live streaming community, like it's a real thing. And I think that was one of the things that we really all discovered there, was that our interconnectivity, even internationally. When we had the 13-day Blabathon for Charlene's son, Charlie, I did the overnights because at some point the Eastern Seaboard went to sleep, and at some point before the Australians wake up, I had a couple hours I had to kind of entertain people and keep the room open so that it wouldn't die. So that's what I did. And it took a couple weeks to recover after that because the sleep was so whacked out. But it was totally worth it because she got what she needed. She got like 6 months of a supplement that she couldn't have gotten otherwise.
Very cool. Well,
maybe I can bounce out and we'll bring in Lindsay so we have the Pop X, crew here.
Oh, absolutely. I think you should.
All right. Lindsay, boot up.
For a seat, but I can't. I have to stay here to maintain the broadcast. If you're new,
it's good to have a good, sane person here. You guys play. I'll be in the side. Come on, badges.
Salutations, Anna.
Person in the room.
Oh my God, Leland's best. I am on the screen with you. I love you so much. Thank you so much for doing this. You are a freaking rock star.
Well, thanks,
dude.
I was going to pop you in, but I know Stacy got here first. Does she want to go, or is this one of those things where you guys are going to fight?
Before Stacy goes, can I have Team Pop? Because Stacy's technically a member of Team Pop X. She's like
okay.
she's like a friend of a friend who is like, the back burner of what we like to do at PopX. So I'm going to do a quick screen cap. So all my PopX crew and Leland, let's do a smile real quick. You ready? All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Nice. All right, go ahead, Stacy, as you were.
Thank you, Joe.
As you were.
Well, these two are probably two of the best things that came out of Blab for me.
Oh
my without getting mushy, that really, yeah. Let's see, real quick. I came to Blab. I think I found Blab by accident. I've always liked the cutting edge new stuff, whatever, geek girl kind of thing, and found it by accident. And I cannot remember the gentleman's name who he just audio only.
Oh, that will be Mr. Unpacking himself, Roy Montero.
Unpacking, yeah. Let's unpack this. Let's unpack this for a minute, right? So like that was the first time I actually went on a Blab, was in a Blab that he had, and like, but it's before I, but then just started finding other people. One of the people I found was Vicky Fitch, who inspired me in ways that surprised me. I was leaving a full-time job at the time and going to work for myself at home. And so finding everybody and seeing what people were doing was the thing. But truly, some of the late night conversations, like I said, with these two, I can't put that in words.
Indeed, my dear.
That have happened after Blab, but not in this awesome format with like the audience and, well, a little bit of Johnny Illuminati and, that.
Oh, you need to stop it right now, my dears.
Oh,
Oh, it's so good to be back with you. Yes. Sorry.
So it sounds like you guys have remained as close as ever, thanks to the fact that you kind of work together in one way or another, work off each other, let's say.
A little bit.
So
my dog's taking a dump right there.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to put it. These two cuss at me when I go to bed early because I should be up blabbing.
You should be hanging out with us.
Well,
it's on 9:41 in the evening, and I am. So
I have to say that Stacy and definitely Lindsay are two of the individuals that even Cliff from time to time will grace his presence.
Mayor of Blab.
Yeah,
yes, the mayor.
Okay, so this guy was itty bitty whenever we started Blab. He was 2 years old. Now he's 4.
No way.
And he's getting ready to go to bed. So he's going to say goodnight. 2, 4.
Hello, Mr. Ethan.
Good night, Ethan.
All right, Ethan. See you later.
Hello, Mr. Ethan.
We got to see a lot of the inside stuff of other people, which was their bedroom, their bathroom, their kitchen, their dog, their family. All that stuff was part of Blab. It just became part of Blab. And you see this big thing go on where the guy was broadcasting and his kid came running in on his desk and his wife dragged him out of the room.
Yes, I remember that.
We used to have that all the time. It was like normal.
Yeah.
It was like hanging out in each other's living rooms, or whatever. It didn't matter what was.
I used to be so paranoid about it because I religiously, every time I came on cam, my children started screaming, and I used to be so embarrassed about that. And now I'm just like, this is my kid. Nice to meet you.
I love it.
Well, I actually redid the room because of, this is the first time I've been on an official anything with my pretty room. So
my OCD thanks you.
Looks good.
Oh, you're very welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
See how messy mine is.
But I will say this, on the topic of what we're, talking about, like what's happened with us since Blab. To be honest with you, Blab was probably one of the greatest platforms for me, not just connecting with all of you guys and all these amazing people that's in the room, in the windows with me at this moment, but PopX Cast was birthed out of Blab, and our first 13 episodes were on Blab. And now we're going into tomorrow night, Sunday night, we'll be doing episode 84 of PopX Cast. So we're still chugging along. We're still doing what we do. And it all started with just basically me and Lindsay Badger wanting to do a podcast that's around nerd stuff. Yeah. So it's been an amazing ride, an amazing journey for me, and still amazingly, I'm in connection with almost everybody that's in this room right now. And that's the cool part about it, Leland, is I think once we all got established on Blab, we didn't become just friends. We became family.
Definitely. And I mean,
for me, you know, not being able to talk to Lindsay, well, at least once a week, and Stacy, and just getting connected in that way, it's been such a blessing for me to have those friendships last all these years. I mean, what is it, 3.5 years now since this thing came to fruition?
And Joe lives too far away to have us met in person, but Lindsay and I have actually met in person twice.
2 times.
Oh. Well, if you come to Orlando, you can actually, because I live where you vacation, so we all can get together. So you got to let me know.
You send us the plane tickets, and we will jump on.
I tell you what, you get the plane tickets, and I'll meet you at the happiest place on earth. How about that? So.
Oh, I have a message from our dear mayor. He says he's always watching.
Creeper. He's probably got some kind of crazy
get some weird name over here.
He says that he can't come in tonight, but he said that he was watching on mobile.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know what that
mobile,
but that's what he said. That he's always watching.
Yes, I'll mention that while we've got everybody here watching. There is a Get Vocal mobile app that's in production. It's not in full force just yet. It has been.
You can't chat with it.
Yeah, no, can't chat.
Not a lot. There's a long way.
But it was cool to watch when I first got here earlier. I watched your intro on there, Leland, and it was cool to be able to see.
And I do want to say to John Preto as well. John sent me a couple messages here, and I've been out to Vegas a couple of times, and we've kind of been missing each other. John, the next time I come to Vegas, you and me are having some steak, bro. I promise.
You better. I love John.
And I know for a fact, just by doing this broadcast, there's some people in this room today and who have been through this broadcast that I have lacked connecting further with. And I need to put forth some more effort to make certain that these connections I've made through Blab continue to thrive. And I'm going to have to go back and say hi or meet them out here some more, spend some more time in them in this Foursquare, and then move ahead with some bigger and better relationships.
Blab Meetup 2019, Orlando, Florida. Make it happen.
Yeah, I feel like these relationships that we've created through Blab, quite a few of them, you don't talk to these people every day, or maybe not even every week. But when you do get an opportunity to chat with them again, you just pick right back up where you left off. And I think that's the most precious thing that you can have with a relationship with any person.
And it's like talking to a family member to an extent.
Yeah.
You know, you have seen their kids come into the shot, and you've seen how messy their office can look, and you've seen their man cave room, and you've hung out and watched movies or listened to, had the mayor spinning tunes for you at late at night. And some of those late nights listening to, having him spin radio, and we all just kind of chilled, those were some fun nights. So I'll jump out of the seats to somebody else over here, Bruce, or who else? Ricky Prime, I think somebody said.
I was just showing you where I was 6 hours ago, just rubbing that in there, just a little.
Chilling with Woody and his friends over in the
new Toy Story
Is
land.
Ricky Prime in the chat right now?
Yes, Ricky's here. Yes.
Yeah, Ricky is in the house.
See you guys. Good. Thanks for doing this, Leland. Really
Love you,
appreciate
Stacy.
He's not camming. He's just watching.
Stacy, this is
wasn't
you.
my idea.
Oh, Joe, how sweet.
Love you.
She's my sis.
Right. Let them know how to find you guys at PopX, Joseph.
All right. You can tune us in every other Sunday night, but of course our schedule's posted on popxcast.com, of course, facebook.com/popxcast. We stream all of our shows there. You can click on the Get Notifications button. We have a scheduled stream for tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be talking about the Venom film movie review and more, breaking it down, Easter eggs, what we liked, what we didn't like, and all that stuff in between. Of course, we'll be having pop culture nerdy news as well along with that. So we do try to broadcast every other week. We're on a 2-week cycle now. So.
Cool. Very cool. Glad to hear it. Thanks so much for you guys all showing, especially as a team. I love the fact that you all grabbed a seat when you had a chance to do it at the same time.
Right,
because
yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool.
Well, I do have to hop out, Leland. I'm sorry. It's just quick and cut and dry. But I do want to say thank you guys so much for just getting together tonight, Leland. Thank you for putting this together. I think this needs to be more of a regular thing, maybe bi-weekly or once a month or something, where we all just come together. And I really have to commend you on what you've done here, and it's so great. Oh my God, look who it is! It's my buddy. It's Moon Shadow.
I just had to. I didn't want to jump in and grab a seat right away, but I would like to say that our birthdays, or our Blab birthdays, Pop X and Insight with Moon Shadow, was days apart, like 2 or 3 days apart.
Yes.
So
Right. You are right.
Anniversary they had, I had it like 2 or 3 days before, and amazing. So you guys are awesome.
Moon Shadow, I freaking love you, dude. I don't get to see enough of that smile, man.
I
Every
remember
time I see Moon Shadow on a stream, that smile just like.
I know, right?
I remember seeing Joe. Like, there were times that it would be like 3 o'clock in the flipping morning, okay? And Joe would be drawing on his digital pad, and he'd be by himself, right?
Yeah.
And I'd pop in and be like, Joe, what's up? And be like, what's up, brother? What's going on? What's happening? And we would just sit there and just shoot the shit for like 2 or 3 hours in the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah, man. Many, many great moments like that. And I'm still drawing today. I've gotten a couple of contracts in Central Florida, so I'm continuing that.
And I'm loving your stuff. You notice. Liking.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
I'm
bro.
like popping up the likes on there on the
Yeah.
Insta and on your social media, because
that's awesome, man.
Joe's brain gravy rooms were always lots of fun.
Brain Gravy and Thrusts, hosted by Mr. Johnny Illuminati, as we shall say.
One thing that was funny.
Lots of good times.
So this is
I
me
love
now
the fact
on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Joseph Burke Arts. You can. That's all everywhere. So.
And it's also good to troll. Like, I was never really a troll. I never trolled anyone, but I did troll Johnny Illuminati and imitated Johnny Illuminati, which was fun as hell. Because it'd be like, we need to bring Johnny in here. And all of a sudden, he'd pop in and be like, Moon Shadow.
Hello, Moon Shadow.
Yeah.
He was one of the friendly trolls.
Yes, I was a friendly
I
troll.
love Johnny Illuminati. Him and I had a love affair. We did.
He loved you too, and he loved the midgets that you sent him via UPS as well. He's still midget farming somewhere in Ocala, Florida. I don't know where he's at these days, but
I'm gonna drop down so that I can let another seat pull up. But I love you.
And I will drop out too, but one of my favorite quotes from Johnny Illuminati to me was, Moon Shadow, you sexy creature. Do you have any midgets and chocolate?
Moon Shadow, you sexy man beast. Do you have any midgets and chocolates? Hmm?
And only I would know what he meant by midgets and chocolate.
All
But
right,
I
I'm out here,
I
guys.
will drop out
Peace.
so we can let some other wonderful human back in. And Leland, thank you so much for this. And also too, if Rand, you're still in there, get in touch with me, man. Rand, come tell me. All right.
Trying to get stick around, Moon. I was trying to get Ricky Prime in here. I don't know if he's even still here. I know I see Patricia out there still
I
hanging
think
around.
he's still watching. He said he was watching from the outside. There he is. Come on, Ricky. Come on, you can do it.
I'm trying to find out who else I can call out here.
And Sam is back in the room, of course.
We got who is guest 842? That's what I want to know.
That's Mark Prophet.
Oh, that's Prophet. That's right. Mark, you're welcome to jump in. I don't know what held you back. You had quite a lot to say before the broadcast started this morning.
Ricky's like, I'm definitely not going to do
that. At any time, please do. I recall the day that Mark Prophet shaved his beard on Blab.
I remember that. I remember having a very, very deep conversation with Mark about makers. And because of that, I've been researching going to makers places so I can actually make some serious stuff.
Awesome. Great.
How's your eye, Mark? I gotta ask.
How's my what?
Remember you fried your eye with a laser one day?
Yeah, that was
Yeah, it was a white laser that got you when you weren't least expecting it.
Well, okay, I kind of flashed myself once when I was on Blab, but I actually blinded myself after a long time after Blab had gone away, and I thought I was going to be blind. But unfortunately, I lucked out on that. I had a friend of mine who was doing some research with stem cells hand me some stuff that's not approved yet. It worked great. So
awesome. If you don't know Mark Profit, he's one of those, I'll just say it, genius IQ levels. Actually, it's not too far.
I love that one.
Mark has got things in his head that I can't fathom, because if I got it into my head, it would just make it explode. So,
I remember your Twidget.
Yeah,
yeah, I do.
Twidget was all over Blab.
Yeah. So actually, this is actually a Blab thing. I had come up with this and couldn't make it until I did the makerspace, and I made this and was just kind of sitting on it. And people were asking me. I demonstrated. It's to demonstrate a seemingly unsolvable problem, and some people had asked for them. So Will actually kicked me in the ass and said, "All right, you're going to make that and have it available to purchase in the next 24 hours." And we did. And I sold all the ones that I could make within 24 hours. And that was all done on Blab, where people chipping in and making it happen and helping me get off my ass to actually do it. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Oh, if you guys don't know that,
before crowdsourcing became a thing.
Yeah, and it was crowdsourcing, and but it wasn't just crowdsourcing, because I really didn't need any help, really.
Right.
But people were encouraging and causing that to happen, which was actually much more important. Something that was not available, excepting because of Blab, where you could talk to people and actually have real relationships. I don't know. You guys have all seen this, because you guys have all been. Has anybody else not seen this?
It's a blast from the past, for sure.
Okay, I'll skip it. But anyways, so
you got to start it.
All right, I'll start.
You might as well do it up.
Oh, but you lost the video. You lost your video. Where'd you go? Are you still there, Mark? I see him.
Yeah,
I
his
guess he
video
got
feed just went.
Magic act.
All right. Well, we'll tell you what.
Hi, Patricia.
Hey. How you doing, everybody?
Patricia from North Carolina, Durham.
Skywriter. Durham
That's
Skywriter.
it. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Does the news down there in North Carolina and her broadcast. Tell us how you got there. I got to know you got a story.
Got in North Carolina or got on Blab?
How you got on Blab, where it took you from there. I just like that whole the background, the Blab experience.
I don't remember how I discovered Blab. I don't remember if Periscope came first or if Blab came first, because I noticed a lot of people from Periscope reaching Blab. Okay, flooding Blab.
Sure.
Do you remember which came first? Periscope in terms of popularity? Periscope or Blab?
Been fired up first that I'm aware,
because Periscope I think was there before Blab, and then Blab came.
Yeah.
If I'm right, it was April 2015 that Blab actually went online and was available to the public. And I could be wrong there. And I've got another timeline that I'll pull up later before the broadcast is over. But yeah, it was just in that early part of 2015. So Periscope would have already been running.
Okay. Whoa. Yeah, let me let you finish. Wait. Hello?
We're not sure.
What the heck?
Is he using the app? Are you using the app, Mark? On the
Yes,
phone?
Blab. Yeah, Periscope was first, Blab was second.
Okay.
I'm using the browser, not the app, but I'm using my phone. Something happened with my computer. I don't know what happened.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not doing your video any justice whatsoever. It's just
okay. That should work a little better.
That should work better.
Where'd he go?
Hey, like Blab, where it should work. It should do
now,
this. It should
quick, but while Mark's sorting his stuff out and stuff,
like I'm gonna have to brief Mark for a minute until we get some things straightened out. I'm gonna let Patricia go ahead and finish up.
Okay.
We can get Mark back in here in a minute.
Well, I was already accustomed to being on camera because I don't know if you remember, I have an online newspaper and I've been interviewing people for years, starting out with radio. I had left, I think, WNCU maybe a year or two before Blab came along. I don't know. But I had been doing my show on Google Plus. I know a lot of people laugh at Google Plus. I still love Google Plus. But I had been searching for other platforms. And I think I did a few of my shows on Blab.
Mm-hmm.
But I was never...
with us too, right?
What'd you say?
You were on Fire Talk with us as well.
Yeah. Oh,
before
yeah. I was a big fangirl for Fire Talk. Fire Talk, I still think that had a lot of potential. And I'll tell you what even had more potential. You've never heard of Gravy Live. Gravy Live was incredible.
Somebody just told me about that yesterday.
Oh my God. But the people who created it were even less clueless than the people who created Blab. So, yeah, sad.
Really a lot of platforms came and went. In the meantime,